When I was about to meet my online boyfriend in person for the first time, my best friend, Adalynn Wilson, tried everything she could to talk me out of it. I just blocked and deleted him when a flood of comments popped up out of nowhere. Classic female lead. First thing she does is steal her bestie's billionaire boyfriend, lol. Bella Sanders is so clueless. One pep talk from Adalynn, and she actually deletes her billionaire boyfriend. No wonder she's just a supporting role in this story. But wait, what if Adalynn slips up? She's not even the real deal. Don't worry, our girl's got all the beauty and tricks in the book. She'll reel in the male lead in no time. I was still reeling in shock when Adalynn kept on nagging me. Bella, you can never really know someone online. What if he turns out to be a creep? Deleting him was the right call. I pulled myself together slowly and nodded. Yeah, you're right. Even though I had already blocked and deleted my online boyfriend, Adalynn still wasn't fully reassured. She asked again, sounding concerned, Bella, you didn't send him any photos, your phone number, or your real identity, did you? I shook my head with a smile. I'm not that stupid. Adalynn secretly rejoiced, but her tone remained sincere and earnest. Good. Just remember to protect your privacy online. Never go around sharing your personal information carelessly. I nodded repeatedly. Don't worry. I'm not that naive college kid anymore. I've been out here in the real world fighting to get by for over a year. I've got the street smarts for this. Adalynn struggled to hold back a laugh as she teased. You're a total old hand at this. The shrewdest of them all. I pretended not to catch the sarcasm in her words and puffed out my chest proudly. You bet I am. Adalynn rolled her eyes behind my back, then yawned and said, Bella, I've got a part-time job tomorrow. I'm heading to bed first. You should get some rest too. Good night. I nodded with a smile. Okay, good night. Bella is so dumb. She'd thank Adalynn for pushing her off a cliff. Absolutely hopeless. Still, though, I'm low-key worried that Adalynn might slip up. Relax. She's a top-tier actress, and she's come fully prepared. No way she'll slip up. Adelynn's gorgeous, has an amazing figure, and oozes charm. Way more alluring than a plain little sweet thing like Bella. Even if Ronan finds out the truth later, he'll just be grateful it was Adalynn who showed up for the meetup. So true, haha. Am I the only one who thinks what Adelynn's doing is kinda shady? The author said Adelynn's a ruthless, self-serving opportunist with no moral compass. If you like Mary Sue's, this isn't the story for you. I couldn't help but roll my eyes. Seriously, what kind of people actually enjoy stories about homewreckers? After Adalynn shut her bedroom door, I made my way back to mine unhurriedly. Then I pulled out my phone and added my online boyfriend back on Instagram. I hadn't given him my phone number, sure, but I had his. Holy crap. Bella had an ace up her sleeve. Why would she lie to Adalynn? Could she have figured out what Adalynn was up to? Not necessarily. Maybe she just got annoyed and pretended to delete Ronan to placate Adalynn. Let's hope that's all it is. Why Bella lied doesn't matter. What matters is that Adalynn has no clue she's been deceived. Chill out. Adalynn will find out eventually. There's gotta be a plot twist. A plot twist? We'll just have to wait and see about that. My boyfriend hadn't sent me any messages lately, so he had no idea I'd ever blocked him. I slipped into the white dress I'd prepared for our meetup and snapped a bunch of photos that only showed me from the nose down. Then I picked the best one and sent it to my online boyfriend, whose screen name was Ron. I shot him a message along with it. Babe, don't mix me up with someone else tomorrow, okay? He replied in no time. Ronan. Never in a million years. Ronan. You look stunning, babe. Me? Good to hear. Ronan. Your lips look so perfect too. Can I kiss them tomorrow? The comments were right. My overall look leaned sweet and innocent, not like Adalynn, who was born with that smoldering, irresistible allure. But my lips were a different story. They had a perfect shape, a natural rosy hue that needed no lipstick, and on their own, they looked downright seductive. Me? Not tomorrow. Gotta see how you behave from now on. Ronan. Ha. Promise I won't let you down. We chatted for about half an hour before I ended the conversation, saying I needed to go to sleep. I could tell he wanted to keep going. But the old-timers told me, You've got to keep him hungry. Bella actually sent Ronan a photo. Why do I feel like Adelyn's in trouble here? Stay calm. Adalynn will totally turn the tables. Besides, Bella only sent a shot of her lower face. He might not even recognize her. But her lips look super distinctive. If he pays close attention, he might figure it out. It's fine. Ronan's a total sucker for looks. Adalynn will win him over with her beauty for sure. I closed my eyes with a cold laugh. I'd love to see Adalynn try to turn the tables. Of course, if he really did fall head over heels for Adalynn at first sight, I'd have nothing to say about it. But even if he did only want Adalynn for her looks, I'd make sure he knew exactly what kind of person she was, a scheming homewrecker who stole her best friend's boyfriend. Adalynn would never get to keep that perfect, innocent image in his mind. Adalynn and I had been roommates back in college. Adalynn had grown up in a struggling family. Her parents favored sons over daughters, so she had to take out student loans to pay her tuition fees and earned every cent of her living expenses from part-time jobs. My family was just average, but way better off than hers. Besides, I was an only child, so my parents had never skimped on me when it came to material things. Once I found out about her financial troubles, I'd always been there to help. I'd regularly treated her to meals, bought her new clothes every season when I shopped for myself, and even shared my cosmetics with her. After we graduated, we got jobs at different companies. Knowing she had student loans to repay, I'd specifically picked an apartment halfway between our workplaces and offered to cover all the rent and utility bills on my own. I just wanted to help her save as much money as possible. Of course, it wasn't a one-sided arrangement. Back in college, she'd helped me pick up my parcels and cleaned our dorm room for me. After we moved in together, she'd taken it upon herself to handle all the housework. I'd never thought it was unfair. I'd always consider her my best friend, only to find out she'd stooped to such low tactics to steal my boyfriend and live a better life. It left me feeling both heartbroken and furious. She stabbed me in the back first, so she can't blame me for returning the favor. I spent the whole night tossing and turning, unable to fall asleep. It wasn't until past 3 o'clock in the morning that I finally drifted off into a fitful slumber. By the time I woke up the next day, it was already 10 o'clock in the morning. At 8 o'clock, Ron had sent me a message.
Good morning, babe.
Me, morning. About 5 minutes later, Ron wrote back. Ron, sleepyhead, just woke up? Me. Yeah, sleeping in on the weekend. Ron. Haha, fair enough. Ron. Don't forget our date tonight. Me. Don't worry, I won't.
Me. All right.
I'll hit you up later. Be there or be square. Ron. Yeah, see you there. Adalynn still hasn't figured it out yet. She's totally in danger. There's still hours to go. She's got a chance. What if Bella gets into an accident on her way to the meetup? Wouldn't that be something? Thanks for the heads up. I'd make sure to be extra careful. After wrapping up the chat, I finally dragged myself out of bed and got dressed at a leisurely pace. Stepping into the living room, I spotted the note Adalynn had left on the dining table. There's warm milk and a sandwich in the kitchen. Make sure you eat breakfast. For a moment, I felt a twinge of something.
Complicated.
Adalynn was only a year older than me, but she was incredibly nurturing. She'd always looked after me like a little sister, showering me with meticulous care. She knew I loved sleeping in on weekends and often skipped breakfast, so she'd leave a portion for me every single day. Once upon a time, those little gestures had touched me deeply. Now they just felt like empty acts of hypocrisy. I marched into the kitchen, stared at the sandwich for a few seconds, then grabbed it and dumped it into the trash can. Holy shit! Bella just threw out the sandwich Adalynn made for her. How did she know there was something wrong with it? Does she have superpowers or something? Totally possible. Let's hope Adalynn figures it out soon, otherwise she's gonna get played hard. No need to worry. Adelyn's the true female lead here. Bella is just a side character. She can't stir up any real trouble. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Adalynn sent me a text. Adalynn. Bella, I have to work overtime today, so I'll be home late. Cook yourself something to eat or order takeout. I'll make you buffalo wings tomorrow. Me. Don't worry about me. Focus on your work and don't get your pay docked. Adalynn. Okay. I made a glass of cream soda for you and had it delivered. It's loaded with toppings. Remember to drink it as soon as you get it. Me. Got it, thanks. Adalynn. Saying thanks makes us strangers, silly. Me. Fine, I take it back then. We exchanged a little playful banter before she ended the conversation, saying she had a customer coming over. 10 minutes or so later, the delivery guy showed up with the cream soda. I just poured the entire drink down the toilet and flushed it away when the comments popped up again. Oh no. It feels like Bella doesn't just have superpowers. Her powers are even stronger than Adelyn's. For real. How else can you explain how she knew Adalynn spiked the cream soda with water that had way too many bacteria in it? Does that mean Adelyn's gonna get even more screwed over?
Chill.
Adalynn will definitely sense something's off and pull off the perfect counterattack. Am I the only one who wants to see this villainess crash and burn? You're not alone. I stared at the empty bottle in my hand, frozen for a second. My stomach had always been sensitive. Eating anything unclean would easily give me diarrhea. She'd really gone to a lot of trouble just to keep me stuck at home. I'd been way too naive to think she was a good person. Probably to check if I'd actually drunk the cream soda, Adalynn sent another text to test the waters. I told her I was feeling a bit queasy, guessing it was from eating some dodgy takeout. She bought the lie hook, line, and sinker and even went online to order some medicine for me. That evening, I arrived at the agreed-upon plaza 20 minutes early. Instead of heading straight to the designated spot, I hid behind a billboard at the bus stop and watched discreetly. 10 minutes later, a handsome guy holding a bouquet of pink roses showed up. He walked straight to the south side of the fountain and waited anxiously. If nothing went wrong, this was my online boyfriend. The one the comments kept talking about, Ronan Knowles. After waiting another 5 minutes or so, Adalynn appeared. She'd known I was going to wear a white dress for the meetup, so she'd put on a white dress too, though hers was a strapless style. I had to admit it. Adalynn had an absolutely stunning figure. The second she showed up, she caught everyone's eye around her, including Ronan's. Though maybe her conscience was bothering her, she put on a mask. Ronan held the flowers and strode toward Adalynn. They were too far away for me to hear what they said. But from Ronan's affectionate body language, it was clear he was more than satisfied with her. Honestly, looking at their appearances, they made a perfect match. After exchanging a few words, Ronan took Adelyn's hand and headed for the mall entrance. Instead of rushing over to expose them right away, I pulled out my phone slowly and dialed Ronan's number. Ronan answered the call, but his voice was unusually cold. Who is this? I pretended not to recognize his tone and said in a sweet voice, Babe, I'm here. Where are you? Ronan froze in his tracks. After a 2-second silence, he asked warily, Who are you? I sounded wronged and said, It's me. Didn't we agree to meet at the Plaza Fountain at 8? You didn't forget, did you? Ronan spun around abruptly and stared toward the fountain. The comments exploded.
Fuck.
No plot twist at all? I'm cringing so hard for them. Don't panic, there's definitely gonna be a twist. If Ronan finds out Bella was his online girlfriend all along but still chooses Adalynn, wouldn't that be more interesting? Exactly. It was just an online relationship, they never even met in person. Besides, with Bella's level of smarts and tricks, she could never handle a wealthy playboy like Ronan. You're so right. Only a seductive beauty like Adalynn can tame a wild wolf like Ronan. Ronan stayed frozen in his turned position, not moving an inch. After about 10 seconds, I huffed in dissatisfaction and said, I'm your online girlfriend, B. You big dummy, did you really forget? Shit. Ronan cursed loudly, then wrenched his hand free of Adelyn's and strode toward the fountain. Adalynn reacted instinctively and chased after him to stop him. Get lost. Ronan shoved her hard. Adalynn lost her balance, let out a shriek, and tumbled to the ground. Ronan glanced at her for a split second, then jogged toward me while talking on the phone. Babe, where are you? Some woman just pretended to be you. I almost got tricked by her. I feigned surprise and said, Really? That's so weird. I think I can see you. I stood under the street lamp next to the fountain and waved my arm vigorously. I see you too. The second Ronan spotted me, he ran straight toward me. I walked forward to meet him. Adalynn glanced in my direction, then scrambled to her feet and fled the scene quickly. Ronan skidded to a halt in front of me. He stared intently at my lips and dress for a few seconds, confirming I was the real deal, then said chagrined, "Babe, some woman just wore a dress exactly like yours and pretended to be you. I almost mistook her for you. Thank goodness you called me, or I would have been scammed by her." I looked shocked and said, "Who is it? How shameless." Ronan turned and pointed toward the spot where Adalynn had just hit the ground. Some woman in a mask and sunglasses. She was standing right there. She's already run off. I huffed indignantly. Unbelievable. The nerve of some people. Ronan nodded in deep agreement, then sneered in disgust and said, "Totally shameless. No plot twist after all. Bella's move is brilliant. Ronan must hate Adalynn right now. It's gonna be way harder for her to steal him now. This toxic bestie showdown, why do I feel like this is actually more entertaining? If we don't look at it from Adelyn's perspective, this is actually pretty satisfying. I can't stand homewreckers. People cheer when guys cheat, but attack women for doing the same? Some of you are so obsessed with defending men. Are you out of your mind? When did I say I approve of guys cheating? Can't you see I said I can't stand homewreckers?" The comments erupted into an argument. I rolled my eyes silently. Some people really seem to be obsessed with stories about homewreckers. I guess they probably had similar twisted views in real life, too. Ronan never tried to play up some rich kid image around me, so I just treated him like any ordinary guy. We had late-night snacks together and watched a movie. By the time we walked out of the cinema, it was already past 11 o'clock, and I suggested heading home. Ronan looked reluctant and asked, "Babe, can we meet again tomorrow?" I didn't hesitate to reply, "Of course we can. I have time tomorrow, since it's the weekend." Ronan perked up. "Can we meet earlier tomorrow?" I nodded. "Sure. How about 12 o'clock noon? I have to work on Monday, so I need to get home early tonight." Ronan agreed. "Sounds good. We'll head out early, and I'll make sure you get home in time." Ronan pulled up and stopped at the street corner. Before getting out of the car, he asked cautiously, "Babe, can I kiss you?" Afraid I might misunderstand, he quickly added, "On the cheek." I didn't refuse and turned my cheek toward him. Ronan was over the moon. He leaned in and planted a quick, gentle peck on my cheek. Afterward, he looked unsatisfied and said, "When can I kiss here?" He pointed at my lips. My face turned red as I said, "Depends on how you behave." Ronan vowed earnestly, "I'll definitely behave well." I smiled and said nothing. Ronan secretly sent me a message on his phone, then said, "Babe, can I use your phone for a second?" I had no idea what he was up to, but there was nothing on my phone I couldn't let him see, so I handed it to him. Ronan took my phone, opened our chat, and tapped on a $50,000 transfer he'd just sent me. He'd sent me money before we met, too. But back then, I wasn't sure if we'd like each other after meeting, so I didn't accept it. Of course, the amount back then wasn't this big, at most $5,000. Seeing me freeze, he teased with a smile. "Didn't you say you'd accept my transfer if we still wanted to keep seeing each other after meeting? You can't go back on your word." I snapped out of my daze and looked embarrassed. It's too much. I knew this amount meant nothing to him, but to me it was an amount that made my head spin. Ronan smiled and pinched my cheek. "Your man's got money to burn. Spend it without worry." In the end, I still accepted the $52,000 because Ronan didn't give me a chance to send it back. By the time I got home, Adalynn was already there. Instead of rushing to the fridge to get the juice she'd brought me from the juice shop like she used to, she sat on the sofa and stared at me coldly. Was she going to take the initiative to confront me? I'd thought she'd keep pretending since she hadn't been directly exposed. I lowered my head to change my shoes, waiting for her to make the first move, but all I heard was her saying, "Didn't you promise me you wouldn't go meet that online guy?" So she still wanted to put on an act. Then I could play along too. I clung to her arm and acted coquettishly like I always did. "I'm sorry. I just didn't want you to worry, so I kept it from you. And I checked, he's not a romance scam, at least." As I spoke, I pulled out my phone and showed her the transfer. Adelyn's expression darkened for a split second, but she quickly regained her composure. She pinched my cheek helplessly and said, "Not being a romance scam doesn't mean he's definitely a good guy. You still need to be more careful."
And
She paused slightly, her tone sincere and earnest. "Don't go all the way with him until you're at least engaged." I nodded repeatedly. "Don't worry, I know what I'm doing." Adalynn paused again, then asked, "Did you like the cream soda I sent you today?" I said apologetically, "I'm sorry, I didn't drink it. You know, my stomach is sensitive, and the cream soda was cold. Besides, I was going to meet him, so I didn't dare drink it." Adalynn let out a silent sigh of relief. "All right, but next time, if you don't want to drink it, just tell me. No need to waste it." I nodded repeatedly. "I will." Adalynn smiled and said, "I have to get up early tomorrow, so I'm going to bed first. Go wash up and get some rest too." I nodded. "Okay, good night." "Good night." Bella is such a good actress. She totally fooled Adalynn. I'm so worried Adalynn can't outplay her. Is Ronan really the male lead? The synopsis says Adalynn swore to become Mrs. Knowles. Ronan is an only child, and he doesn't have any young, handsome uncles, so it must be him. Don't worry. Even though Bella is Ronan's online girlfriend, Adalynn fits his type better. Once they spend more time together, Ronan will definitely see the light and switch sides. I'm the actual girlfriend here. Since when am I the dark side? Brainless comments. The next day, I slept in until I woke up naturally again before dragging myself out of bed at a leisurely pace. Adalynn didn't leave me any breakfast this time. I knew she was angry, but I had no obligation to placate her. After tidying myself up a little, I headed out to meet Ronan. We had lunch together, then he took me to the mall to go shopping. I was tempted, but in the end, I turned him down. However, when he noticed my feet were blistered from the high heels, he insisted on dragging me into a shoe store to buy a pair of flat shoes to change into. We just stepped out of the store when a sleazy thug stormed straight toward me, shouting accusations furiously. "Bella, you're such a piece of work. You hooked up with me last night for old time's sake, and now you're already with someone new? No wonder you dumped me so fast, you had a backup ready." Both Ronan and I were stunned by this unexpected scene. The sleazy guy kept ranting. "Does he know you've been with me since you were 16? Does he know how wild you are in bed? Does he know you've already had 3 abortions for me?" He didn't give me a single chance to defend myself. He pulled out a stack of photos and threw them right at my face. The photos fluttered down all over the ground. Every single one of them was obscenely explicit, too shocking to look at. I knew Adalynn wouldn't just sit around and take it, so she was saving up this ace in the hole all along. With how proud Ronan is, there's no way he'll stand for being deceived and played like this. He might not even give Bella a chance to explain. He'll just walk away on the spot. Ha! Is it really that funny to see an innocent girl getting slandered with such vile rumors? The more I see of Adalynn as the female lead, the more she makes my skin crawl. Someone tagged the author. Why not just make Bella the female lead instead? The author already said this is a villainous story. If you can't handle it, just don't read it. I really don't get why some people are being so dramatic. I thought only characters in novels would spout such hypocritical nonsense. Turns out there are people who talk like this in real life, too. Art imitates life. It just exaggerates things a little sometimes. Ronan snapped out of his shock, his eyes darting to me with suspicion. Passers-by also shot me looks of disdain, one after another. I didn't try to defend myself, nor did I fly into a helpless rage. Instead, I pulled out my phone calmly and dialed the police. "Hello, 911? Someone is spreading malicious rumors about me in public and distributing doctored obscene photos in a crowded place." The thug panicked the second he saw me call the cops. He tried to put on a calm front and shouted furiously, "Bella, how dare you call the police after doing such things? Have you no shame?" He paused briefly, then sighed dramatically. "Fine. You have no dignity, but I still want mine." With that, he bent down to pick up the photos scattered on the ground. I immediately stepped on a few of the most explicit ones. The man flew into a rage. "I was going to spare you some embarrassment, but since you're this shameless, forget it. He turned around and tried to leave. I rushed forward at once to block his way. "We're going to the police station to get this sorted. You're not going anywhere." He shoved me hard. "Are you out of your damn mind? I'm letting it go, and you still want to humiliate yourself?" I stumbled backward from the force of his push. Just then, Ronan rushed over to stop him. "You're not leaving until we clear this up at the station. You're asking for trouble." The man lost his cool completely and threw a punch at Ronan without a second thought. Ronan didn't back down. He clearly knew how to fight. He took the man down in a matter of seconds and pinned him firmly to the ground. Less than 10 minutes later, the police officers arrived. After getting a basic understanding of the situation, they took the thug, Ronan, and me to the police station. Truth will always prevail, and lies will never stand. Once the officers had the photos analyzed, it was obvious that every single one of them had been doctored. The thug wasn't exactly tight-lipped either. The police managed to get him to talk in no time. It turned out that someone had contacted him online the night before, offered him a sum of money, and told him to frame me. The doctored explicit photos had been provided by that person, too. The police tried to track down the culprit using the clues the thug gave them. Unfortunately, the person behind this had strong anti-surveillance awareness. They'd used a fake identity and a virtual IP address, so the police couldn't uncover their real identity. I wasn't particularly surprised. Adalynn wasn't stupid. She'd never leave any evidence that could be used against her. Still, as long as I could prove my innocence, that was all that mattered. As much as I hate to admit it, Bella's got a brain. She didn't try to prove her innocence with words, just went straight to the cops. Words can be as sharp as a blade, and rumors can destroy a person completely. I can't stand this so-called villainous female lead who spreads malicious sexual rumors about another girl, especially since that girl used to be her benefactor and best friend. Honestly, I've never seen a more unprincipled, bottomless villainous FL in any novel before. If a villainess had principles and morals, would she even be a villainess? People keep saying they can't stand it, then just don't read it. Why do you have to keep complaining? The comments erupted into another argument. It seemed that not everyone had such warped values after all. When we walked out of the police station, Ronan apologized to me sincerely. "Babe, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have hesitated earlier." I forgave him generously. "It's okay." He looked so righteous and indignant back then. If I weren't the one involved, I probably would have been tricked too. I lifted my head and smiled sweetly. "And if you hadn't helped me take him down and hand him over to the police, he would have run away without a trace by the time they arrived." Ronan hugged me emotionally, sighing with admiration. "You're amazing, babe. Not only are you beautiful, but you're also so smart. I really hit the jackpot with you." I didn't hold back my praise either. "You're pretty amazing too." After exchanging a few compliments, Ronan started analyzing the situation with me. "Babe, have you upset anyone lately?" I shook my head. "I don't go looking for trouble. I haven't explicitly offended anyone. Remember when I told you someone pretended to be you to meet me?" I nodded.
Yeah.
Ronan's tone turned serious. "Whoever did this must know you well. Otherwise, there's no way they could have found out about our meetup. Think carefully. Did you tell anyone about our plan to meet in person?" I thought for a few seconds, then said in disbelief, "Could it be her? How is that possible?" Ronan asked me.
Who?
I frowned and said, "My best friend. But she even tried to talk me out of meeting you." Ronan scoffed coldly. "She told you not to meet me, but she secretly went in your place. Babe, she's not a friend of yours. You should cut ties with her as soon as possible." I looked uncertain. "But we don't have any evidence proving it's definitely her yet. What if we wrong her?" Ronan looked at me earnestly. "Babe, do you trust me?" I nodded. "Yes." "Then leave this to me." I thought for a moment and nodded. "Okay."
Fuck.
Bella is so scheming. She's using Ronan to take down Adalynn. Don't worry. With Adelyn's tricks and charm, even if she's off to a bad start, she'll still wrap Ronan around her finger. Can't wait to see Ronan do a complete 180. Ronan seems pretty into Bella right now. Not convinced he'll flip that easily. We'll find out soon enough. If that's the case, I'll definitely dump Ronan before he gets the chance to change his mind. We walked a little further, and when I saw it was getting late, I suggested heading home. Ronan asked me, "Are you living with her right now?" I nodded.
Yeah.
Ronan looked worried. "Babe, if it really is her, it'll be dangerous for you to keep living with her."
I thought he was right.
Adalynn had already dared to give me a drink with excessively high bacteria levels. If she got cornered, poisoning me wouldn't be out of the question. "Yeah, I'll stay in a hotel tonight first, then take a day off tomorrow to rent a new place and move out." Ronan looked at me expectantly. "There's no need to rent a place. I have an empty apartment nearby. If you don't mind, you can move in there." "Don't worry, I'll never go in without your permission." I shook my head. "I want to rent a place near my company. It'll be more convenient for commuting that way." Ronan thought for a moment and nodded. "You're right. I'll go house hunting with you tomorrow." I nodded. "Okay." Ronan took me to a hotel owned by the Knowles family. He didn't mention it, so I pretended not to know. He booked 2 adjacent rooms. After entering my room, I sent a message to my boss asking for leave, then texted Adalynn to tell her I wouldn't be coming home tonight. Adalynn thought I was checking into a hotel with Ronan to sleep together. She called me right away, but I didn't answer. She sent me another message, saying I shouldn't be so reckless, sleeping with someone I'd only known for 2 days. She must have been really worked up. She couldn't keep her cool, and her words started getting harsh. The comment said Adalynn was so angry that she was throwing things at home. Even through the screen, I could picture her furious, flustered look. Satisfying. Because I was in an unfamiliar environment, I woke up at around 8 o'clock the next morning. Only then did I slowly reply to Adelynn's messages. I told her the truth. I'd gotten 2 separate rooms with Ronan. Whether she believed me or not was her problem. After breakfast, Ronan accompanied me to rent a place near my company. The real estate agent recommended a brand new, fully furnished 3-bedroom apartment, and the rent was only 1/3 of the normal rate. I knew Ronan had arranged it. I turned it down, saying if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Instead, I chose a modest studio, just over 300 square feet. Ronan thought it was too small, but seeing how insistent I was, he didn't push it. Once the place was settled, he helped me move my stuff from the old rental. Adalynn was at work, so she wasn't home. No drama this time. It wasn't until Adalynn got home that night that she realized I'd moved out. She quickly figured out that I'd seen through her true colors. She didn't send me any provocative messages. She just gritted her teeth and swore that she would definitely steal Ronan from me. I didn't care. Anything that could be stolen wasn't worth having anyway. I was quite busy at work, so Ronan and I only met for dinner every night, then took a walk before heading back to our own places. The comments were right. Ronan really was that innocent type. Just holding hands or a peck on the cheek was enough to leave him buzzing for hours. A week later, he told me that he'd found out the mastermind who'd paid that thug to frame me, and that the woman who'd pretended to be me to meet him was Adalynn in both cases. I said I'd let bygones be bygones, but if there was a next time, I'd never let her off the hook. Of course, I only said that for Ronan's benefit. As I'd expected, to get back at her for me, Ronan not only secretly ruined Adelynn's job but also made sure she couldn't find a new one. But Adalynn wasn't someone who could be easily crushed. Unable to find a job, she set up a street stall. A few days later, Ronan took some men to trash her stall. That night, it was pouring with rain. Adalynn walked straight up to Ronan in the downpour and begged him to spare her. The thin, soaking wet clothes clung tightly to her curvy, graceful body, paired with her delicate, pitifully beautiful face. No normal man could remain unmoved, including Ronan. That day, Ronan took Adalynn to a hotel, and the comments exploded in celebration. Some destined fates and entanglements began from that moment on. Ronan fell deeper and faster than I had imagined. On one hand, he was in a pure, innocent relationship with me. On the other, he used Adelynn's body to vent his most primitive desires. Maybe he felt guilty about me, so he tried to make up for it with material things frantically. I accepted them, but once I got home, I put them away and forgot about them. Half a year later, Adalynn couldn't hold back anymore. She sent me a message, telling me to go to the hotel to catch them in the act. I went. Ronan begged me to forgive him. I pulled out our chat history and showed it to him. He had promised that if he ever cheated, we would break up and he would never pester me. Ronan had no choice but to agree to break up. I returned all the gifts he had given me, as well as the large transfers. Of course, I didn't hide from him that it was Adalynn who had actively told me to go catch them. As expected, after breaking up with me, even though Ronan didn't leave Adalynn, his attitude toward her became worse. Adalynn had thought about taking revenge on me, but before she could even start, Ronan gave her a harsh warning. She hated me to the core, but she didn't dare do anything to me. The comments still insisted that Ronan was in love with Adalynn, but didn't realize it. They kept waiting for the day he would come to his senses and start his chasing his true love redemption arc. Unfortunately, instead of getting the redemption arc they wanted, they got the news that Ronan was getting engaged to a wealthy heiress. I had known this all along. A wealthy playboy like Ronan, even if he really liked me, would never marry me as his wife. If I insisted on being with him, there would only be two outcomes. Either I would become just another one of his ex-girlfriends, or I would be reduced to his secret lover who could never see the light of day. I didn't want either. So from the moment I found out his real identity, I had mentally prepared myself to break up with him at any time. When I found out from the comments that he had slept with Adalynn, I became even more certain of this. Leaving him while he still liked me would make me his unreachable ideal in his heart. And Adalynn? From the moment she resorted to underhanded means to seduce Ronan into bed, her image and status in his heart were set in stone. Not to mention Ronan's family. She was destined to never become Mrs. Knowles in this life. 2 years later, Ronan married his fiancée. After Ronan's wife found out about Adelyn's existence, she repeatedly gave Adalynn trouble. Although Ronan was dissatisfied, he was in the wrong after all, so he didn't dare protect Adalynn too much. As a result, Adalynn suffered a lot. Later, Adalynn made a desperate decision. She decided to secure her position by having a child, so she tricked Ronan into getting her pregnant. Ronan wasn't happy about it, but in the end, he allowed her to have the baby. When Ronan's wife found out about this, she strongly demanded that Ronan make Adalynn get an abortion. Ronan refused. A month later, Adalynn was in a car accident. That car accident made Adalynn lose many things: her proud beauty, the child she had high hopes for, and her precious ability to have children. After that, Adelynn's mental state became unstable. She often cried and screamed for no reason. At first, Ronan endured it out of guilt and pity. But as time went on, he gradually grew tired of it. 3 years later, Ronan's patience ran out, and he broke up with Adalynn. Of course, Ronan didn't mistreat Adalynn. He gave her a large sum of money as a breakup fee. But Ronan's wife still didn't plan to let Adalynn go. She told Adelynn's family that Adalynn had a lot of money. Adelynn's parents and younger brother secretly came to Havenport. Using Adelynn's mental instability as an excuse, they forcibly took her back to their hometown and sent her to a mental hospital. Then they took over her property without any hesitation. I guess it takes a villain to bring down a villain. I didn't interfere in anyone's fate. But even at this point, some brainless comments still insisted that Ronan was following the chasing his true love script. They were still waiting to see Ronan regret it endlessly and beg Adalynn for forgiveness. Honestly, unbelievable. The year Ronan got married, a colleague introduced me to her husband's classmate, a promising young university professor. The professor looked cold and rigid on the surface, but after getting to know him, I realized he was a gentle and thoughtful man. After chatting online for a while, we met in person. We both had a good first impression of each other and decided to start a serious relationship. He took the initiative to confess his romantic history to me. He'd had an unrequited crush on a classmate in high school that fizzled out, and he'd long since let it go. Seeing how honest he was, I told him about my relationship with Ronan, too. I was an innocent victim through and through. There was nothing I couldn't say. After dating for a year, we planned to walk down the aisle. First, I went with Jeremiah Hale to meet his family. Jeremiah's parents and grandparents were all educators. When they found out that my parents were also educators, they became even warmer and more welcoming. After spending a few hours together, They were satisfied with me, and I was satisfied with them, too. So during the next holiday, I took Jeremiah back to my hometown to meet my parents. Both sides were happy with each other. On the day of my wedding to Jeremiah, I saw Ronan attending as a guest. Ronan sat in the audience, watching me in my wedding dress, and his eyes slowly turned red. After the wedding, I received a message from an unknown number. Bella, be happy forever. I was about to delete the message when Jeremiah appeared behind me without me noticing. He reached out and took the phone from my hand. Jeremiah said with a hint of jealousy, "Looks like I need to keep a close eye on my wife, or someone might steal her away." I turned around and hugged him. "Are you jealous? Don't worry. Anything that can be stolen isn't worth keeping, and definitely not worth missing." Jeremiah's tone was casual. "I'm not." As he spoke, he leaned down and kissed my lips. If he wasn't jealous, why was he kissing me so hard? Such a hypocrite.
So what did we learn from today's story, ladies and gentlemen? First, if your best friend is this interested in your boyfriend, congratulations, you don't have a best friend. You have a very enthusiastic unpaid relationship competitor. Second, when someone says, "Don't meet your online boyfriend, it's dangerous," and then secretly shows up to meet him herself, that's not a safety warning. That's a reservation request. Third, if a random man appears in public screaming, "She's had 3 abortions for me," don't waste your time arguing. Call the police and let Photoshop testify in court. Fourth, rich playboys are like limited-time desserts. Fun to look at, nice to taste, but if you try to build your entire future around one, you may end up with emotional indigestion. Fifth, never underestimate the power of keeping receipts. Screenshots, chat logs, transfer records. These things solved more problems than love ever did in this story. And finally, the real winner wasn't the billionaire. It wasn't the scheming best friend. It wasn't the comment section screaming. He'll realize his true love any day now. The real winner was the girl who saw the red flags, collected her evidence, protected her peace, married a nice professor, and left the drama to the people who seemed addicted to it. So the moral of the story is, if someone wants your boyfriend that badly, let them have him. If he's stealable, he's recyclable. See you all in the next episode of My Best Friend Tried to Steal My Man and Accidentally Ruined Her Own Life.